Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Before starting the video, if you are new here, please support and subscribe to my channel. Let's start with the name of Allah, the most gracious and most merciful. Among the Prophet Muhammad's, peace be upon him, uncles, one chose a path like Hamza, standing by the Prophet as a loyal companion, while the other became like Abū Lahab, turning into a fierce enemy. Interestingly, before Muhammad, peace be upon him, became a prophet, both uncles cared for him deeply. But after the message of Islam was revealed, their choices led them down very different roads, one becoming a trusted ally, and the other a bitter opponent. Abū Lahab, often called the father of fire, was sharp-witted, persuasive, and proud of his wealth. He loved to flaunt his riches and status. His hostility was so severe that specific verses were revealed in the Qur'an condemning him, even describing his eventual fate in a miraculous way. So, what made this man, a close relative of the Prophet, turn away from the truth? This video will explore the mindset of a disbeliever who refuses to believe, even when the truth is right in front of them. There are still many people today who resemble Abū Lahab in their attitude. And to understand them, we must first understand him. Abū Lahab's story is one of the most striking and instructive tales in Islamic history. His real name was Abdul Uzza ibn Abdul Muttalib. He was the Prophet's uncle and a member of the Banū Hāshim clan of the Quraysh tribe. He earned the nickname Abū Lahab, meaning father of flame, because of his bright, reddish complexion. But this brightness was only skin deep. His heart was filled with darkness and hatred. Abū Lahab was a man of great influence in Mecca. His father, Abdul Muttalib, was a respected leader and the guardian of the Kaaba. Abū Lahab followed in his footsteps and became a successful trader, amassing great wealth. Some reports say he owned hundreds of kilos of gold. Beyond wealth, he had status, charm, and ambition. Like Abu Jahl, he idolized power and was expected to lead the Banū Hāshim after his father. He married Jamīl, also known as Arwa bint Harb, who came from a powerful family. She was the sister of Abu Sufyan and the daughter of Harb ibn Umayyah. This union only increased their influence in society. Jamīl was admired for her beauty and intelligence, but sadly, she didn't use these gifts for good. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, was born, the family was filled with happiness. Reports say Abū Lahab was so pleased by the news that he freed his slave girl, Suwayba, who brought him the message. Suwayba also breastfed the Prophet, becoming one of his milk mothers. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, grew up without his parents. His father died before his birth, and his mother passed away when he was just 6. He was raised first by his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, and then by his uncle, Abu Talib. During those years, Abū Lahab showed no signs of enmity. In fact, some reports suggest he even supported the young Muhammad in business and arranged for his sons to marry the Prophet's daughters, Ruqayyah and Kulthum, as a way to strengthen family ties. However, everything changed when the Prophet received the first revelation at the age of 40 and began to call people to worship one God and abandon idols. This shook the foundations of Meccan society. Belief in Tawheed, the oneness of Allah, threatened not just their religion, but their economy. Fewer idol-worshipping pilgrims would mean less business. Islam's message of justice also endangered the wealthy elite and their privileges. At the famous gathering on Safa Hill, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, invited his family and the leaders of Quraysh to Islam. This was an important turning point in his open message. Abū Lahab gave the harshest response. He said, "Did you gather us just for this?" and insulted the Prophet before walking away. This was the start of his open hatred. In fact, because of the chaos and constant wars in Arabia, family ties were extremely important among the Arabs. In the early years of Islam, even if some of the Prophet's relatives did not believe in him, they still supported him because of this strong tradition. Other tribes also accepted this behavior as normal and respected it, as it followed their customs. They did not criticize or blame those who supported their relatives. But during the Jahiliyyah period, there was one person who broke this respected rule: the Prophet's uncle, Abū Lahab. Even though he was his uncle, and in Arab culture, uncles were seen almost like fathers, he broke one of the most important moral values of Arabian society. He did everything he could to harm the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, even though he was his own family. Abū Lahab didn't stop with words. He did everything he could to stop Islam from spreading. Wherever the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, went to teach Islam, Abū Lahab followed him and tried to confuse people. He told them that the Prophet was lying or crazy, hasha. Especially at markets and large gatherings, he tried to stop foreign visitors from listening to the Prophet. Jamīl, his wife, also hated Islam and the Prophet. She spread gossip and caused trouble among women. She threw thorns and trash in front of the Prophet's house to bother him. She also tried to influence the noble women of Mecca to exclude Muslim women from society. Jamīl was interested in poetry, but sadly, she used her poems to insult the Prophet. The cruelty of Abū Lahab did not stop there. He pressured his own slaves and servants to stay away from Islam and tortured those who became Muslim. He threatened weak and unprotected Muslims, trying to force them to leave their faith. The torture of people like Bilal al-Habashi showed how cruel Abū Lahab and others like him were. Abū Lahab was also one of the main supporters of the boycott against Muslims. He worked to keep them out of trade and social life. When the Prophet's son Qasim passed away at a young age, Abū Lahab showed great joy and mocked him by saying, "Muhammad has no more sons." This showed how full of hate and anger he was. But then, Allah Ta'ala revealed Sūrat al-Kawthar. "Surely, we have given you al-Kawthar, so pray to your Lord and sacrifice. Indeed, the one who hates you, he is the one cut off." Abū Lahab and his wife Jamīl didn't just oppose the Prophet's message. They also cut personal ties. They broke off the engagements between their sons, Utbah and Utaybah, and the Prophet's daughters, Ruqayyah and Kulthum, severing the bond between the two families. Utaybah didn't just end the engagement. He did so in a cruel and disrespectful way. He insulted the Prophet, peace be upon him, and even spat in his face. Hurt by this act, the Prophet made a heartfelt prayer: "O Allah, destroy him." Not long after, while on a trade journey to Sham, Greater Syria, Utaybah was killed by a lion, an event many saw as a direct answer to the Prophet's supplication. Due to the evil behavior of Abū Lahab and Jamīl, Allah revealed Surah al-Masad, a powerful condemnation. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. May the hands of Abū Lahab be ruined, and ruined is he. His wealth and gains will not benefit him. He will be thrown into a blazing fire, and his wife, the carrier of firewood, will have a rope of palm fiber around her neck. This is the only surah in the Qur'an that names a specific disbeliever. It makes clear that Abū Lahab and his wife were destined for ruin, both in this life and the next. Their wealth, influence, and status couldn't save them. Jamīl being called the carrier of firewood is a metaphor for how she spread lies, stirred conflict, and fueled hatred. The rope around her neck symbolizes the punishment awaiting her in the hereafter. Unlike many of the Quraysh leaders, Abū Lahab did not participate in the Battle of Badr. He stayed behind in Mecca. But when he heard that the Muslims had defeated the Quraysh and many leaders had been killed, he was shocked and furious. His hatred for the Prophet and the Muslims only grew stronger. Soon afterward, Abū Lahab fell seriously ill. Some accounts say he caught smallpox, while others suggest it was the plague. His body developed painful sores and swellings, and because his disease was contagious, even his own family abandoned him. He died in isolation, rejected and alone, his end as bitter as his life had become. Abū Lahab's death was as sad as his life. After he died, no one wanted to touch his body. It was left for days. People were afraid to bury him. Finally, they used long sticks to push his body into a pit and threw stones on top of it. This showed that all his wealth and power were useless. Even at death, they could not help him. In Sūrat al-Masad, the verse says that his wealth and status would not help him. He got such a terrible disease that neither his family, nor his reputation, nor his money could save him. Before he even died, he was left alone. Because the illness was contagious, no one wanted to come near him. The fact that the Qur'an mentioned this in a miraculous way, before it happened, is a clear proof that it is the word of Allah. After her husband died, Jamīl was left alone in society. She used to be proud of her rich necklace, thinking her money would protect her. But in the hereafter, it is said she will carry a rope of fire around her neck. Her end was also a result of her pride and hatred. Even her own children didn't care about her. She lived a lonely life. However, their daughter, Dura bint Abū Lahab, later became a Muslim and moved to Medina. But because of what her parents had done, some Muslims treated her badly. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gave her special care and said, "She is not responsible for what her father did." He told the Muslims to treat her with fairness. This is another example of the Prophet's justice and mercy. One of the key reasons behind Abū Lahab's hatred toward the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Islam, was the message of equality and justice that Islam brought. For people like Abū Lahab, who enjoyed high social status, this was threatening. Islam taught that all people are equal, slave or master, rich or poor. This challenged the foundations of Meccan society, where wealth and power determined one's worth. In addition, Islam's rejection of idol worship directly impacted their economic interests. Many people came to the Kaaba to worship idols, bringing trade and income. If people accepted the oneness of Allah, that business would collapse. To protect their power and profits, leaders like Abū Lahab tried everything to stop the message of Islam. Abū Lahab even went as far as joining plots to kill the Prophet. He worked closely with other Quraysh leaders to plan the Prophet's assassination, but each time Allah protected him. Despite all the harm Abū Lahab and Jamīl caused, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, still prayed for their guidance. He never returned their hatred. Instead, he hoped they would one day accept the truth. This reminds us of a powerful lesson. Islam is a religion of peace, patience, and mercy. Even in the face of hatred, Muslims are taught to respond with kindness and invite others to the truth gently. One of Abū Lahab's biggest efforts to stop Islam was his support for the economic and social boycott of the Muslims and the Banū Hāshim clan. The Quraysh leaders banned trade and any social dealings with them. As a result, the Muslims went through severe hardship, hunger, isolation, and poverty. Abū Lahab played a major role in enforcing this boycott, trying to cut off every form of help to the Prophet and his supporters. His relentless hostility eventually led to his downfall. Abū Lahab's painful and lonely death served as a reminder to the people of Mecca, and to us today, that no matter how powerful someone may seem in this world, it's the hereafter that truly matters. His story teaches us how arrogance and pride can blind a person to the truth. Even now, it holds valuable lessons, that wealth, fame, and influence are temporary. What lasts is a pure heart, sincere faith, and living with purpose. Hate and anger only lead to ruin. To find the truth, we need to keep our hearts open and seek it sincerely. The Prophet's noble character and patience are timeless examples for us to follow. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications to stay updated. Allah bless you all.